Top of the day, that's wobble. Trina, hey girl, hey. I need to move my plate. Scoot you over, baby. Okay. Alright, y'all. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is December the 17th, 2020, day 26 of year 3 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 694. Guys, we're going to get right to it today. We are reading Enoch chapter 43 through 48, and then once we get done with that, it's going to take us about not even 10 minutes, because it's not even 2 full pages. Then we're going to hop right over into the Legends of the Jews. So let's get started. All right. Hello, beautiful people. Hello. Come on. Oh. Okay, let's get started. Enoch chapter 43. I beheld another splendor, and the stars of heaven. I observed that he called them all by their respective names, and that they heard. In a righteous balance, I saw that he weighed out with their light the amplitude of their places, and the day of their appearance, and their conversion. Splendor produced splendor, and their conversion was into the number of the angels and of the faithful. Then I inquired of the angel who proceeded with me, and explained to me secret things, what their names were. He answered, what their names were. He answered, a similitude of those has Yahuah Sabaoth shown you. They are names of the righteous who dwell upon the earth, and who believe in the name of Yahuah Sabaoth forever and ever. Enoch chapter 44, and it's literally one verse. Another thing I also saw respecting splendor, that it rises out of the stars and becomes splendor, being incapable of forsaking them. Enoch chapter 45. Parable the second, respecting these who deny the name of the habitation of the holy ones and of Yahuah Sabaoth. Heaven they shall not ascend, nor shall they come on earth. This shall be the portion of sinners who deny the name of Yahuah Sabaoth, and who are thus reserved for the day of punishment and of affliction. In that day shall the elect ones sit upon a throne of glory, and shall choose their conditions and countless habitations, while their spirits within them shall be strengthened, when they behold my elect one, for those who have fled for protection to my holy and glorious name. Remember, if y'all following along with Enoch, and we're going to get through this, remember, when you hear the elect one, some places say Messiah, Mashiach, just depending on which version you're reading or listening to. It's the same thing. Good morning, Jatori. Good morning. Remember, I did a video not too long ago going through all of that. It was like, okay, so who is Yahuah referring to when it calls out? He said, my chosen one, my elect one. And I did a video. It was almost an hour long, and we pulled all of those scriptures out. And we looked at the pattern, and not only did he just say my chosen, my elect, my holy one, my servant, but he named it after he said it. He said my holy one, Jacob, my elect one, Jacob, or the children of Jacob. It's not just one person, it's the whole nation of Yisrael, or Israel as we know it today, right? Okay, just remember that, because I'm going to post those today. So if you missed it, I'll post the video, and I post all of those scriptures in the comment section, so you can personally go look and see with your own eyes. Don't just take my word for it. I'm leading you to where the stuff is at. So when you get a chance, go look at it. And then you consider within yourself. In that day shall the elect one sit upon a throne of glory, and shall choose their conditions and countless habitations, while their spirit within them shall be strengthened, when they behold my elect one, for those who have fled for protection to my holy and glorious name. In that day I will cause my elect one to dwell in the midst of them, will change heaven, will bless it and illuminate it forever. I will also change the earth, will bless it and cause those whom I have elected to dwell upon it. But those who have committed sin and iniquity shall not inhabit it. For I have marked their proceedings. My righteous ones will I satisfy with peace, placing them before me. But the condemnation of sinners shall draw near, that I may destroy them from the face of the earth. And remember, Yahuah always says, he said, the righteous shall inherit the earth, and the wicked are rooted out. Enoch chapter 46. There I beheld the Ancient of Days, whose head was like white wool, and with him another, whose countenance resembled that of man. His countenance was full of grace, like one of the holy angels. Then I inquired of one of the angels who went with me, and who showed me every secret thing concerning this son of Adam, who he was, whence he was, and why he accompanied the Ancient of Days. He answered and said to me, This is the son of Adam, to whom righteousness belongs, with whom righteousness has dwelt, and who will reveal all the treasures of that which is concealed. For Yahuah Sabaoth, or Yahuah Sabaoth, for those of you that don't know, but it means Yahuah, the God of the hosts, Yahuah of hosts, right? For Yahuah Sabaoth has chosen him, and his portion has surpassed all before Yahuah Sabaoth in everlasting uprightness. And remember, previous days and even recently, what lot fell to Yahuah? Who did Yahuah choose from all the nations? Remember, he presented himself and his laws and his statutes and his commands before all the nations, and all the nations rejected him except for the people Israel. And he said he chose them because of that. Because they chose him, he chose them, right? Okay, I just want to make sure y'all trekking with me and y'all remember what we've been reading. Okay. This son of Adam, whom you behold, shall raise up kings and the mighty from their dwelling places, and the powerful from their thrones, shall loosen the bridles of the powerful, and break in pieces the teeth of sinners. He shall hurl kings from their thrones and their dominions, because they would not exalt and praise him, nor humble themselves before him, by whom their kingdoms were granted to them. The countenance likewise of the mighty shall he cast down, filling them with confusion. Darkness shall be their habitation, and worms shall be their bed, nor from that their bed shall they hope to be again raised, because they exalted not the name of Yahuah Sabaoth. They shall condemn the stars of heaven, shall lift up their hands against El Elyon, shall tread upon and inhabit the earth, exhibiting all their acts of iniquity, even their works of iniquity. Their strength shall be in their riches, and their belief in the gods whom they have formed with their own hands. They shall deny the name of Yahuah Sabaoth, and they will be driven from the houses of his assembly, and of the faithful who suffer in the name of Yahuah Sabaoth. Enoch chapter 47. In that day the prayer of the holy and the righteous, and the blood of the righteous, shall ascend from the earth into the presence of Yahuah Sabaoth. In that day shall the holy ones assemble, who dwell above the heavens, and with united voice petition, supplicate, praise, laud, and bless the name of Yahuah Sabaoth on the account of the blood of the righteous which has been shed, that the prayer of the righteous may not be intermitted before Yahuah Sabaoth, that for them he would execute judgment, as that his patience may not endure forever. At that time I beheld the Ancient of Days, while he sat upon the throne of his glory. The Sefer of the living, or the book of the living, or the scroll of the living, was open in his presence, and all the powers which were above the heavens stood around and before him. Then were the hearts of the holy ones full of joy, because the consummation of righteousness was arrived. The supplication of the righteous heard, and the blood of the righteous appreciated by Yahuah Sabaoth. Last chapter for the day before we jump right over here to the Legends of the Jews, Enoch chapter 48. In that place I beheld a fountain of righteousness which never failed, encircled by many springs of wisdom. Of these all the thirsty drank. and were filled with wisdom, having their habitation with the righteous, the elect, and the holy. In that hour was this son of Adam invoked before Yahuah Sabaoth, and his name in the presence of the Ancient of Days, before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of heaven were formed. His name was invoked in the presence of Yahuah Sabaoth. Remember, and we read that a couple days ago at the very beginning of time. Yahuah said, I am going to choose Israel from amongst all the nations of people whom I have seen, because he is going to cling to me, right? And we'll post that. I'll post that in the comment section too if you missed that day, so you can go back and see it, or you can go back and read it. A support shall he be, and he shall be the light of nations. He shall be the hope of those whose hearts are troubled. All who dwell on the earth shall fall down and worship before him, and bless and glorify him, and sing praises to the name of Yahuah Sabaoth. Therefore the elect and concealed one existed in his presence before the world was created and forever. In his presence he existed, and has revealed to the holy ones and to the righteous the wisdom of Yahuah Sabaoth. For he has preserved the lot of the righteous, because they have hated and rejected this world of iniquity, and have detested all of its works and ways, and the name of Yahuah Sabaoth. For in his name shall they be preserved, and his will shall be their life. In those days shall the kings of the earth and the mighty men who have gained the world by their achievements become humble in countenance. For in the day of their anxiety and trouble their souls shall not be saved, and they shall be in subjection to those whom I have chosen. I will cast them like hay into the fire, and like lead into the water. Thus shall they burn in the presence of the righteous, and sink into the presence of the holy. Nor shall a 10th part of them be found. But in the day of their trouble the world shall obtain tranquility. In his presence shall they fall, and not be raised up again. Nor shall there be anyone to take them out of his hands, and to lift them up. For they have denied Yahuah Sabaoth and his Messiah. The name of Yahuah Sabaoth shall be blessed. Peace and blessings, Aliyah. Shalom, shalom, Mom. All right, y'all. So that was our reading for today. That was Enoch 43 through Enoch chapter 48. So let's just jump right over here now to the Legends of the Jews. And I'm going to post those things. Let me grab this. I'm going to post those things that I mentioned while I was reading that in the description box and the comment section later today. So if you actually have the book, we're in volume 3 on page 274, all the way down to the section where we read the unity of the 10 commandments. Okay, so let me do this. All right, y'all. The unity of the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments are so closely interwoven that the breaking of one leads to the breaking of another. And remember, we were reading yesterday when we were talking about how when someone commits adultery, and it actually gave the breakdown when you commit adultery, how it causes you to break all the other ones. Then it explained, like the 10th commandment, if you covet your neighbor's house, wife, field, anything that belongs to him, it causes you to begin to break the other ones, right? Okay, so pay attention. The 10 commandments are so closely interwoven that the breaking of one leads to the breaking of another. But there is a particularly strong bond of union between the first 5 commandments, which are written on one table, and the last 5, which are written on the other table. The first commandment, I am Yahuah, thy God, corresponds to the 6th, thou shalt not kill. For the murderer slays the image of Yahuah. Remember, we are made in the image and likeness of Yahuah. So when you're looking at us, we're seeing his reflection. Now, some of his reflection down here on the earth, they running rogue and stuff, but hopefully they get it together. Repent and return to him and walk in righteousness. All right, I'm going to read that again. The first commandment, I am Yahuah, thy God, corresponds to the 6th, thou shalt not kill. For the murderer slays the image of Yahuah. The second, thou shalt have no strange gods before me, corresponds to the 7th, thou shalt not commit adultery. For conjugal faithlessness is as grave a sin as idolatry, which is faithlessness to Yahuah. The third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of Yahuah in vain, corresponds to the eighth, thou shalt not steal, for theft leads to false oaths. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, corresponds to the ninth, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, for he who bears false witness against his neighbor commits grave a sin as if he had borne false witness against Yahuah, saying that he had not created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, the Sabbath. Let that. Sorry, y'all. Ooh, I hope I didn't close out YouTube. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all did. Okay. The fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, corresponds to the 10th. Covet not thy neighbor's wife, for one who indulges this lust produces children who will not honor their true father, but will consider a stranger their father. The 10 commandments, which Yahuah first revealed on Mount Sinai, corresponds in their character to the 10 words which he had made use at the creation of the world. The first commandment, I am Yahuah, thy God, corresponds to the first word at the creation, let there be light, for Yahuah is the eternal light. The second commandment, thou shalt have no strange gods before me, corresponds to the second word, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. For Yahuah said, choose between me and the idols, between me, the fountain of living waters, and the idols, the stagnant waters. The third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of Yahuah in vain, corresponds to the word, let the waters be gathered together. For as little as water can be gathered in a cracked vessel, so can a man maintain his possession, which he has obtained through false oaths. The fourth commandment, remember to keep the Sabbath holy, corresponds to the word, let the earth bring forth grass. For he who truly observes the Sabbath will receive good things from Yahuah without having to labor for them, just as the earth produces grass that need not be sown. For at the creation of man, it was Yahuah's intention that he be free from sin, immortal, and capable of supporting himself by the products of the soil without toil. The fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, corresponds to the word, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven. For Yahuah said to man, I gave thee 2 lights, thy father and thy mother. Treat them with care. Oh, that's so good. Okay, man. Okay, I got to add that extra portion to it, right? Exactly. Okay. Is that what you wanted me to call you for? Yeah. Okay. I got it. I'll add. I'll send it right when I'm done. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not. Let me just read this last one again. The fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, corresponds to the word, let there be lights in a firmament of heaven. For Yahuah said to man, I gave thee 2 lights, thy father and thy mother. Treat them with care. And we went into a little bit deeper detail yesterday about the father and the mother. It explained in detail yesterday. So if you missed that, go back and watch that one, right? Oh, it's so good. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not kill, corresponds to the word, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures. For Yahuah said, be not like the fish, among whom the great swallow the small. The seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery, corresponds to the word, let the earth bring forth the living creature after its kind. For Yahuah said, I chose for thee a spouse, abide with her. The eighth commandment, thou shalt not steal, corresponds to the word, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, for none, said Yahuah, should touch his neighbor's goods, but only that which grows free as the grass, which is the common property of all. The ninth commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, corresponds to the word, let us make man in our image. Thou, like thy neighbor, art made in my image. Hence, bear no false witness against thy neighbor. The 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet the wife of thy neighbor, corresponds to the 10th word of creation. It is not good for man to be alone. For Yahuah said, I created thee a spouse, and let not one among you covet his neighbor's wife. All right, y'all, that was good. So now we're going to the next section. Moses chosen as the intermediator. After Israel had heard the 10 commandments, they supposed that Yahuah would on this occasion reveal to them all the rest of the Torah. But the awful vision on Mount Sinai, where they heard the visible and saw the audible, the privilege was granted them that even the slave women among them saw more than the greatest prophet of later times. This vision has so exhausted them that they would surely have perished had they heard another word from Yahuah. They therefore went to Moses and implored him to be the intermediator between them and Yahuah. Okay, so remember, Yahuah said, gather the people, I'm about to speak to them. And so when the people came, they said, listen, we want to hear it directly from Yahuah himself. So Yahuah said, I'm granting a request. Tell the people to get ready. Don't no man have sex with his wife. Everybody cleanse themselves. Prepare for 2 days. I'm coming. So in 2 days, remember yesterday when we read, they prepared themselves. And when Yahuah in his glory came down and he began to speak to them, when they heard his voice, it says a terrible audible voice. Every single one of them heard the audible voice of Yahuah. It said that their spirits left them. It left them. And remember, Yahuah said, the Torah said, Yahuah, who did you give me to? To the living or to the dead? He said to the living. He said, all these people dead. So then Yahuah said he's going to raise them up, which he raised them up. So the dew from heaven came down upon them and they rose up. And so they began to hear the word of Yahuah speak. And it so changed them that, let me not jump ahead of myself. I'm going to just keep reading. It changed them in a way where it says right here, I'll just read this again. But the awful vision on Mount Sinai, where they heard the visible and saw the audible, the privilege was granted to them that even the slave women among them saw more than the greatest prophet of later times. This vision has so exhausted them that they would surely have perished had they heard another word from Yahuah. They therefore went to Moses and implored him to be the intermediator between them and Yahuah. Yahuah found their wish right, so that he not only employed Moses as his intermediator, but determined in all future times to send prophets to Israel as messenger of his words. Turning to Moses, Yahuah said, all that they have spoken is good. If it were possible, I would even now dismiss the angel of death. But death against humanity has already been decreed by me, hence it must remain. Go, say unto them, return to your tents, but stay thou with me. In these words, Yahuah indicated to Israel that they might again enter upon conjugal relations from which they had abstained throughout the 3 days, while Moses should forever have to deny himself of all earthly indulgences. Moses, in his great wisdom, knew how, in a few words, to calm the great excitement of the myriads of men, saying to them, Yahuah gave you the Torah and wrought marvels for you. And when y'all hear Torah, Torah simply means instruction or his commandments to keep, though the commandments that will keep you with your life while you're here on earth, right? Okay, so when you hear Torah, think about Yahuah's instruction. That's just the Hebrew word for Yahuah's instruction to his people, right? And not just to his people, but all people. And when you obey, and if you're not his and you begin to obey his instructions, you become his people. So it's his instructions to his people, how to live a good and peaceable life, and how to be honorable and upright and deal well with your neighbor, right? We're not to do any harm to anyone. Yahuah gave you the Torah and wrought marvels for you in order, through this and through the observances of the laws which he imposed upon you, to distinguish you before all other nations on the earth. Consider, however, that whereas up to this time you have been ignorant, and your ignorance served as your excuse, you now know exactly what to do and what not to do. Until now, you did not know that the righteous are to be rewarded and the godless are to be punished in the future world, but now you know. But as long as you will have a feeling of shame, you will not lightly commit sins. Hereupon the people withdrew 12 miles from Mount Sinai, while Moses stepped quite close before Yahuah. In the proximity of Yahuah are the souls of the pious. A little farther, mercy and justice, and close to these was the position Moses was allowed to occupy. The vision of Moses, owing to his nearness to Yahuah, was clear and distinct, unlike that of other prophets who saw but dimly. He is furthermore distinguished from all the other prophets, as he was conscious of his prophetic revelations, while they were unconscious in the moments of prophecy. A third distinction of Yahuah, which he indeed shared with Aaron and Samuel, was that Yahuah revealed himself to him in a pillar of a cloud. Let me say something real quick. Let's jump back up here. Where it says, the vision of Moses, owing to his nearness of Yahuah, was clear and distinct, unlike that of other prophets who saw but dimly. He is furthermore distinguished from all the other prophets that he was conscious of his prophetic relations while they were unconscious in the moments of prophecy. Have you ever seen a prophet prophesy and then somebody may come back a little later? Maybe you've had the personal experience yourself and somebody prophesied something to you and you come back and ask them about it and they were like, I don't even remember what I said. What did I say? This is what that's talking about. Moses saw clearly and he was able to remember, and it was precise. And it says the prophets after him, they saw but dimly, right? And they were unconscious in the moments of prophecy. Yahuah himself was speaking through them to that person. That's why they didn't remember what they said, because it wasn't coming from them. It was coming directly from Yah to that person who that word went to, right? So it kind of, when you submit yourself to Yah, he'll bypass all of your stuff. And it's probably good that a lot of the stuff that we prophesy, hopefully it's Yahuah moving through you. You're not giving false prophecies, speaking to people. Otherwise, some people just tend to get nosy and get all up into people's business and think about stuff. Ooh, y'all, okay, you said what? What was they doing? You know, we don't need all that. Yahuah speaking to them directly. And because at this time, Yahuah said he wanted to speak to his people directly, but they were scared of the audible voice. And they said, listen, Moses, you go talk to him and you come back and tell us what he said. And this is why we have this today. But Yahuah wants to restore this, where he wants to talk directly to his people, you know. But we ask for an intermediary person. We ask for the prophets. And Yahuah, in his graciousness and his love for us, he sent us the prophets. So when we're not listening and we're rejecting the prophets, there's nothing left but judgment. And judgment is not always bad. Yahuah brings judgment always as a corrective measure. Judgment comes to wake you up and to turn you back to him. And when you completely disregard judgment, then nothing's left but punishment. In spite of all these great marks of favor to Moses, the people still perceived the difference between the first two commandments, which they heard directly from Yahuah, and those that they learned through Moses' intercession. I'm going to read that again. In spite of these great marks of favor to Moses, the people still perceived the difference between the two commandments, which they heard directly from Yahuah, and those that they heard through Moses' intercession. Listen to this. For when they heard the words, I am the eternal, I am Yahuah, the understanding of the Torah became deep-rooted in their hearts, so that they never forgot what they thus learned. But they forgot some of the things that Moses taught. For as a man is a being of flesh and blood, and hence ephemeral, so are his teachings ephemeral. They hereupon came to Moses, saying, Oh, if he would only reveal himself once more. Oh, that once more he would kiss us with the kisses of his mouth. Oh, that the understanding of the Torah might remain firm in our hearts as before. Moses answered, It is no longer possible now, but it will come to pass in the future world, when he will put his law into their inward parts and write it in their hearts. Remember, I mentioned this yesterday too. What did Yahuah say his new covenant was, right? What did he say it was? Now, the current teachers, if you don't read your Bible yourself, You will be taken away with the teachings that the majority of the church world teaches about what the new covenant is. If you listen to it and you actually go back and check them, and some of them could be preaching out of ignorance, and a lot of them, I believe a lot of them are, but they're teaching about a covenant that Yahuah didn't talk about. And Moses even mentioned it here, and it's mentioned all throughout the Old Testament. You got to wonder to yourself, why they want you to stay away from it? Like I always say, it's like the New Testament. It's like cliff notes to what Yahuah himself has said. It's always best to get it from the authority. Yahuah is always the authority. Anybody else, we should do our due diligence and go back and check. I do not care what title they put on their name. I don't care if it's apostle, prophet, preacher, teacher, evangelist, whoever, mama, daddy. Honor them, but go back and double check them, because they're human and they can make mistakes, and they may have gotten words twisted up. Yahuah said, he said, my covenant. This is what Yahuah said about the new covenant. He said the new covenant is not going to be like the covenant that I gave to your forefathers. He said the only difference is that I'm going to take this same covenant that I gave to them, and here is the difference. He said, and instead of inscribing it on tablets, he said, this time I'm going to inscribe it on your hearts and your inward parts. He said, and then you're going to love it. He said, and you're going to love me, and I'm going to become your God, and you're going to become my people. That's what the new covenant is. Not that we would have tablets, but that he would take that law and inscribe it on the insides of us in our hearts. That's what Yahuah has always said it would be, right? Read this again. Oh, that once more he would kiss us with the kisses of his mouth, that the understanding of the Torah might remain firm in our hearts as before. Moses answered, it is no longer possible now, but it will come to pass in the future world when he will put his law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And from the Old Testament, I'll give y'all all them scriptures today about what Yahuah says about this. So y'all can go back and check. Go back and check behind me. See, pull out your favorite Bible and see what it says, right? Always remember, everything we hear, we must weigh against the words of the Creator himself. He is the sounding board of everything we believe. And if our beliefs are off, and if they are contrary to what Yahuah has said, we need to make some adjustments. All right? Israel had another reason for regretting the choice of an intermediator between themselves and Yahuah. When they heard the second commandment, thou shalt have no strange gods besides me, and the evil impulse was torn from out of their hearts. But as they requested Moses to intercede for them, the evil impulse set in once more in its old place. In vain, however, did they plead with Moses to restore the former direct communication between them and Yahuah, so that the evil impulse might be taken from them. For he said, it is no longer possible now, but in the future world he will take out of your flesh the stony heart. Although Israel had now heard only the first two commandments directly from Yah, still the divine apparition had an enormous influence upon this generation. Never in the course of their lives was any physical impurity heard among them, nor did any vermin succeed in infesting their bodies. And when they died, their corpses remained free from worms and insects. Bruh, I'm telling y'all need to get in here and read the words of Yahuah. Read his instructions and let them wash all over you. Let it kiss you from ear to ear. Let it kiss you from every part of your being, from the inside out. Okay, next section, y'all. Moses and the angels strive for Torah. The day which Yahuah revealed himself on Mount Sinai was twice as long as ordinary days. For on the day the sun did not set, a miracle that was 4 times more repeated for Moses' sake. When this long day had drawn to its close, Moses ascended the holy mountain, where he spent a week to rid himself of all mortal impurity, so that he might betake himself to the God of heaven. And it's probably a good thing that we learn to fast. Start turning away the king's delicacies, y'all. Start the practice of fasting in your life so you can begin to hear clearer from the Most High, right? Okay. At the end of his preparations, Yahuah called him to come. Listen, I'm going to read that again. By doing that, by cleansing ourselves, Yahuah will bid us to come into his presence. But we can't do it if we all bogged down with all the cares of the world, y'all. When this long day had drawn to its close, Moses ascended the holy mountain, where he spent a week to rid himself of all mortal impurity, so that he might betake himself to the God of heaven. At the end of his preparations, Yahuah called him to come to him. Then a cloud appeared and lay down before him, but he knew not whether to ride upon it or merely to hold fast to it. Then suddenly the mouth of the cloud flew open, and he entered into it and walked about in the firmament as a man walks about on the earth. So apparently up here on Mount Sinai, there's a portal, right? We just see mountain, and I believe there's portals in the sky. Y'all ever seen Dana? If you hear, Dana brought up a good point. Her and her husband, a few months ago during the summertime, they went to, where did y'all go? Like Honduras? I think it was Honduras or somewhere y'all went to, Dana, if she's here. But anyway, as they were out on the water on the boat, they noticed at a certain time of the day when the sun was out. Where did y'all go? Was it Honduras? Where did y'all go? Or it's the Grenada. They went to Grenada. And they sent us a text in like the group text we had. And they said, hey, we think there's a portal behind this cloud. And because they noticed while the sun was out shining bright, and then at about the same time every day, the sun went behind this cloud and then it disappeared. Like the cloud moved on, but where did the sun go? Like it flipped them out. I'm like, what? Record it. Send a picture. So they sent pictures. And so I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. I said, clearly there's a portal there, right? That who can explain that? There's clearly a portal there, right? Okay. Listen. Then suddenly the mouth of the cloud flew open, and he entered into it and walked about in the firmament as a man walks about on the earth. Then he met Kemuel, the porter, the angel who is in charge of 12,000 angels of destruction, who are posted at the portals of the firmament. He spoke harshly to Moses, saying, what dost thou here, son of Amram, on this spot, belonging to the angels of fire? Moses answered, not of my own impulse do I come here, but with the permission of the Holy One, to receive the Torah and bear it down to Israel. As Kemuel did not want to let him pass, Moses struck, Kemuel, he just got taken up, went through a portal, right? And there are angels at different gates at all the portals and stuff, right? So this angel right here asking him, the angel's name is Kemuel. As Kemuel did not want to let him pass, Moses struck him and destroyed him out of the world, whereupon he went on his way until the angel Hadarniel came along. This angel is 60 myriads of parasangs taller than his fellows, and at every word that passes out of his mouth issue 12,000 fiery lightning flashes. When he bade Moses, he roared at him, what dost thou here, son of Amram, here on the spot of the holy and high? When Moses heard his voice, he grew exceedingly frightened. His eyes shed tears, and soon he would have fallen from the cloud. But instantly the pity of Yahuah for Moses was awakened, and he said to Hadarniel, you angels have been quarrelsome since the day I created you. Remember, we read about some of that stuff. Remember how that's why some of them failed. Them like, who is man that thou art mindful of him, right? And some of the angels were jealous at the creation of man, and that's where that scripture comes from. I know when we read that, it's read to us, or we read it with the connotation that oh, what is man that thou art mindful of him? Those were words that came from the angels. What is man that thou art mindful of him? Like, you created us first. You made us immortal. You made him of dirt. Why are you so mindful of him? Why are you so intrigued with him? Shouldn't you be intrigued with us? And that was the thing, right? Those were words that came from the mouths of the fallen ones. You're right. What dost thou here, son of Amram, here on the spot of the holy and high? When Moses heard his voice, he grew exceedingly frightened. His eyes shed tears, and soon he would have fallen from the cloud. But instantly the pity of Yahuah for Moses was awakened, and he said to Hadarniel, you angels have been quarrelsome since the day I created you. In the beginning, when I wanted to create Adam, you raised a complaint before me and said, I didn't realize, look, it's right here. It's right here. When I wanted to create Adam, you raised complaint before me and said, what is man that thou art mindful of him? And my wrath was kindled against you, and I burned scores of you with my little finger. Now again ye commence strife with the faithful one of my house, whom I have bidden to come up here to receive Torah and to carry it down to my chosen children Israel. Although you know that if Israel did not receive the Torah, you would no longer be permitted to dwell in heaven. Remember, we went over all that yesterday, right? All of heaven and all of earth was in suspense until that moment where Yahuah led his people out of Egypt to that mountain to see if they would accept the Torah. Yahuah said, remember, he had already destroyed the world with the flood. He said, in this point in history, I'm going to bring a people, and I'm going to not submit myself to them, but I'm going to present to them me. And if they will accept me, they will accept my Torah, then I will bless the world. But if they don't accept me, remember, he had went to all the other nations before he came to Israel. He came to Israel, the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, the children of Israel, which are the children of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Jacob, his descendants, his offsprings, the whole nation of people. He went to them last after he had went to all the other nations, and all the other nations said, we do not want you. Right? We read that yesterday. He went to them. So they was literally the last chance for the salvation of the earth and all the other nations, people, right? He said, if they do not accept me, he said, then I'm going to turn everything back to darkness and chaos. Like he was going to end the world again, right? Listen. Now again, let me just go back up here. You angels have been quarrelsome since the day I created you. In the beginning, when I wanted to create Adam, you raised a complaint before me and said, what is man that thou art mindful of him? And my wrath was kindled against you, and I burnt scores of you with my little finger. Now again ye commence strife with the faithful one of my house, whom I have bidden to come up here to receive Torah and to carry it down to my chosen children Israel. Although you know that if Israel did not receive the Torah, you would no longer be permitted to dwell in heaven. When Hardniel heard this, he said quickly to Yahuah, O Lord of the world, it is manifest and clear to thee that I was not aware he came thither with thy permission. But since I now know it, I will be his messenger, and I will go before him as a disciple before his master. Hardniel hereupon, in a humble attitude, ran before Moses as a disciple before his master, until he reached the fire of Sandalphon. When he spoke to Moses, saying, Go, turn about, for I may not stay in this spot, or the fire of Sandalphon will scorch me. This angel towers above his fellows by so great height that it would take 500 years to cross over it. He stands behind the divine throne and binds garlands for Yahuah. Sandalphon does not know the abiding spots of Yahuah either, so that he might set the crown upon his head. But let me read that again. He stands behind the divine throne and binds garlands for Yahuah. Sandalphon does not know the abiding spot of Yahuah either, so that he might set the crown on his head. But he charms the crown so that it rises of its own accord until it reposes on the head of Yahuah. As soon as Sandalphon bids the crown rise, the host on heaven tremble and shake. The holy animals burst into paeans, and the holy seraphim roar like lions and say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. When the crown has reached the throne of glory, the wheels of the throne are instantly set in motion. The foundations of its footstool tremble, and all the heavens are seized with trembling and horror. As soon as the crown passes the throne of glory to settle upon its place, all the heavenly hosts open their mouths, saying, Praise be the glory of the Eternal from his place. And when the crown has reached its destination, all the holy animals, the seraphim, the wheels of the throne, and the host on high, the cherubim and the hashmalim speak with one accord. The Eternal is King. The Eternal is King. The Eternal will be King in all eternity. Now when Moses beheld Sandalphon, he was frightened, and in his alarm came near to falling out of the cloud. In tears he imploringly begged Yahuah for mercy, and was answered. In his bountiful love for Israel, he himself descended from the throne of his glory and stood before Moses until he passed the flames of Sandalphon. After Moses had passed Sandalphon, he ran across Rigyon, the stream of fire, the coals of which burned the angels who dip into them every morning, are burned and then rise anew. This stream with the coals of fire is generated beneath the throne of glory out of perspiration of the holy Hayat, who perspire fire out of the fear of Yahuah. Now, if y'all was paying attention while we're reading the book of Enoch, we hear about this holy fire, right? We hear about all of this in the book of Enoch. That's why we're reading this along with that, so you can see. This stream with the coals of fire is generated beneath the throne of glory out of the perspiration of the holy Hayat, who perspire fire out of the fear of Yahuah. Yahuah, however, quickly drew Moses past Rigyon without his suffering any injury. As he passed on, he met the angel Galizer, who also is called Raziel. He it is who reveals the teachings to his maker. Remember, there was a section, I don't think it was yesterday, I think it was the day before yesterday, where it talks about the book of Raziel, right? Okay, just in case you missed it, if you weren't paying attention. And it talks about everything that is written in that book, and which is given to Israel, said for all generations. And we are to continue to teach that to our children, right? Somehow all this stuff is hidden. At Yahuwah's word. Why? Because we turned away from his laws, his statutes, and his commands. But as we begin to return to him, he brings all this wisdom back to us so that we can once again become his people, and we will begin to see him stand up here in the earth and fight on our behalf. Yahuah is our mighty one, and we are to worship him alone. No other name are we to give praise to besides Yahuah Sebawoti, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Him is him. And there are many different languages upon the earth, and in their language they are addressing him, the creator of heaven and earth. As he passed on, he met the angel Galizer, also called Raziel. He it is who reveals the teachings to his maker and makes known in the world what is decreed by Yahuah. For he stands behind the curtains that are drawn before the throne of Yahuah, and he sees and hears everything. Elijah on Horeb hears that which Raziel calls down into the world and passes his knowledge on. This angel performs other functions in heaven. He stands before the throne with outspread wings, and in this way arrests the breath of the Hayat, the heat of which would otherwise scorch all the angels. He furthermore puts the coals of Rigyon into a glowing brazier, which he holds up to kings, lords, and princes, and from which their faces receive a radiance that makes men fear them. When Moses beheld him, he trembled, but Yahuah let him pass unhurt. Then he came to a host of the angels of terror that surround the throne of glory, and they are the strongest and mightiest among the angels. These now wished to scorch Moses with their fiery breath, but Yahuah spread his radiance of splendor over Moses and said to him, "Hold on tight to the throne of my glory," and answered them. For as soon as the angels became aware of Moses in heaven, they said to Yahuah, "What does he who is born of woman hear?" And Yahuah's answer was as follows: "He has come to receive the Torah." They furthermore said, "O Lord, content thyself with the celestial beings. Let them have the Torah. What wast thou with the dwellers of the dust?" Some of them angels just wasn't having it. They was like, "We are the celestial beings. We are the immortal ones. Give it to us. Why even deal with these sons of the dust?" Right? They furthermore said, "O Lord, content thyself with celestial beings. Let them have the Torah. What wouldst thou with the dwellers of the dust? Moses hereupon answered the angels, It is written in the Torah, I am the Eternal, thy Lord, that have led thee out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. Were ye perchance enslaved in Egypt, and then delivered, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is furthermore written in the Torah that ye shall have no other gods. Are there perchance idolaters among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Thou shalt not utter the names of the Eternal thy God in vain. Are there perchance business negotiations among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah, to teach you the proper form of invocation? It is written, Remember to keep the Sabbath holy. Now, mind you, the angel is talking to Moses. Yeah, they hate us. So Moses is saying to them, Yahuah bid him permission to speak to the angels. The angels like, what you doing here? And all it's like Moses, as he's ascending to Yahuah's throne, there are gatekeepers everywhere he's going. And Yahuah allowed Moses to speak to this angel, while the angel said, what you doing here, son of the dust? Why are you here? Who let you up here? So he got back in his place when he realized Yahuah let him come up, right? And so he said, listen, are you the ones that this Torah is being spoken of? Are you the ones that have sinned? Were you the ones who needed to be delivered from Egypt? This was clearly written to us. So step back and let me get on in here and get this and take it down to my people, so stuff can quit happening to us, right? All right, those are just my words. Are there perchance business negotiations among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah, to teach you the proper invocation? It is written, Remember to keep the Sabbath holy. Is there perchance any work among you, that you are in need of the Torah? It is written, Honor thy father and thy mother. Have ye perchance parents, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Thou shalt not kill. Are there perchance murderers among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Thou shalt not commit adultery. Are there perchance women among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Thou shalt not steal. Is there perchance money in heaven, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Is there perchance any false witnesses among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? So he pretty much saying, angels, listen, y'all don't need the Torah. It's us, the sons of the dust, whom you so have named us. It's the sons of the dust who need the Torah, not you. Y'all up here perfect and immortal. Let me get this so I can roll out. Is there perchance any false witness among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? It is written, Covet not the house of thy neighbor. Are there perchance houses, fields, or vineyards among ye, that ye are in need of the Torah? The angels hereupon relinquished their opposition to the delivering of the Torah into the hands of Israel, and acknowledged that Yahuah was right to reveal it to mankind, saying, Eternal, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set thy glory upon the heavens. Moses now stayed 40 days in heaven to learn the Torah from Yahuah. But when he started to descend and beheld the host of angels of terror, angels of trembling, angels of quaking, and angels of horror, then through his fear he forgot all he had learned. For this reason, Yahuah called the angel Yiphiah, the prince of the Torah, who handed over to Moses the Torah, order in all things and sure. Hold on. Let me read that again. But when he started to descend and beheld the host of angels of terror, angels of trembling, angels of quaking, and angels of horror, then through his fear he forgot all he had learned. For this reason, Yahuah called the angel Yiphiah, the prince of the Torah, who handed over to Moses the Torah, ordered in all things and sure. All the other angels too became his friends, and each bestowed upon him a remedy, as well as the secret of the holy names, as they are contained in the Torah, and as they are applied. Even the angel of death gave him a remedy against death, the applications of the holy names, which the angels through Yahuah, the prince of the Torah, and Metatron. Remember, Metatron was Enoch. Remember, towards the end of Enoch, when he was up there, Yahuah changes him, right? And he was transformed in the presence of Yahuah. And Yahuah named him Metatron. He gave him a new name, right? So when we see Metatron, not Megatron, Metatron is talking about Enoch, the one whom was taken and was no more. But we know, hold on, baby, there was a whole host of things that happened that was not canonized in the Bible. It just gave you like 2 sentences, maybe 3 about Enoch in the Bible, but they completely did not even add those scrolls about what happened. But you read it through Jasher and you read it in the Book of Enoch to fill that in. Those 3 little sentences that they gave about Enoch completely have you ignorant about everything that happened while Enoch walked on the earth and what happened under his rule and how the earth was righteous as he brought the teachings back from heaven and taught it to the people, right? Even the angel of death gave him a remedy against death. The applications of the holy names, which the angels through Yahuah, the prince of the Torah, and Metatron, the prince of the face, taught him. Moses passed on to the high priest Eleazar, who passed them on to his son Phinehas, also known as Elijah. And y'all, we're going to stop here for today, but we're going to pick it up tomorrow when Moses actually receives the Torah, right? We already at 56 minutes. But also, let me mention something right here where it's talking about the names that were revealed to Moses. Listen, I did not realize in my arsenal of books in here, which was a book that I did not even order. My husband ordered it as we began. Matter of fact, we've had it in the house at least 2 years now, and it was my husband who ordered it. He saw that there was a copy of the Book of Enoch, like the Ethiopian copy of the Book of Enoch, right? So we've had it here, but I figure it really can't be too much different from the one I'm already reading. So I just kind of glanced at it and I put it away. But last night when I was down here, after I got done cooking, I thought a book that I also ordered is called the Nag Hammadi Scrolls, right? Which is some more stuff from scrolls and everything that they kind of clumped together, but they didn't add. But it's stuff there that happened, true scrolls. It's like you hear the Dead Sea Scrolls. They also have the Nag Hammadi Scrolls, right? So I went to go look for my Nag Hammadi Scrolls. And the book that my husband ordered just kind of like popped out at me. I was like, oh, I forgot we had this. But so I grabbed it because I saw inside of this it was the 3 different books of Enoch from the different places that had them, because the different places in each of their books of Enoch or the scrolls of Enoch, they have the same information, but some information and some of them where it's unreadable in the other scrolls, it's readable in this scroll. So they put them all together in one book so you can read through all 3 of them and kind of get the missing pieces, right? Even in the Dead Sea Scrolls, you will see portions of it. If you ever read through it, you will see portions where some of it was unreadable because it was so old and they're trying to translate it the best way they can. So where it was unreadable, they kind of put in like parentheses or whatever. They said this portion was unreadable, blah, 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 right? So anyway, I grabbed that and I opened it up and I went to the Ethiopian copy of the Book of Enoch. And I sat there and I started to read it. There was a whole portion and I'm debating whether I want to say it. Well, not say it. I'm debating whether if I want to read it. Let me think about it today. But in there, at the beginning, this soul should have been put in Genesis 2, right? In the beginning, as Yahuah was creating Eve, as he was creating Eve from the rib of Adam, it began to list out every single body part that was created, right? And there is an angel over every single body part that we have. The angel of the left eye, the angel of the right eye. Not only did it just say the angel of the left eye or the right eye or the angel of the brain or the angel of the bones or the angel of the sinew, it named their names, right? And I sat there and I'm like, what? I said, what? And it caused me to start thinking about different things, right? And wow, yeah, read it, sister, please. Okay, I know I'm going to really screw them names up, right? Because I was reading through it. I don't know that I can pronounce half of it. But if y'all want me to read it, I'll try my best to get through them names, right? But it lists out each body part. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, okay, Father. So and I'm thinking about different scriptures now. They're starting to come to me like boom, 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 boom. I was like, wait a minute. So I think it's still on Amazon. I'm gonna have to look. I'll give y'all a link. I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna see if I can find it. See if it's still available on Amazon. And I'm like, so wait a minute, Father. So I started thinking about the scripture that every knee shall bow unto you, and every name shall submit to you. And I'm like, and I started thinking about people being healed, right? And I started to think about some scriptures in the New Testament where it said, remember how people were born with deformities and stuff? And it said, and somebody asked, they said, well, what did this man do to cause him? I'm just kind of, give it to you in my words. What did this man do to sin that he has this deformity, right? Or what has this man done? Or has his parents sinned to cause this man to be deformed like this? Let's say he hasn't sinned or his parents hasn't sinned, but this has happened so the glory of Yah can be revealed to the earth, right? It said, say somebody's born with a deformity. There's really nothing that you've done. Clearly, there are some things that can happen where doctors can make mistakes and it can cause a baby to be paralyzed. If you got a botched delivery, we know that could happen, right? But there is nothing that the parents have done or nothing that the child itself has done. You were born this way, right? Yahuah caused it to happen. Yahuah allowed it to happen, right? And I started thinking about that. I'm like, I'm like, Father? I wonder, as we pray, and now that we know the angels that are set over each body part, and it even talks about how it says that how nobody knows how bones are formed in the womb. All this stuff began to blow my mind last night. I was like, so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, so Father, now if we adjust our prayers and pray to you, and we ask you, say somebody is blind in the eye, right? Let's say they were born blind. It had nothing to do with their diet, because we know you can, based on what you put in your mouth, you can cause yourself to go blind, get diabetes or whatever, right? Say that somebody was truly born blind. It was nothing that they have foolishly done with their lifestyle or with their body, right? Say it was a true impairment or somebody born with Down syndrome or something like that, right? If we know what body parts are affected, could we be very specific in our prayers? And ask Yahuah that the angel of the eye, or the angel of the brain, or the angel of the spine, or the angel of the hand, or the angel of the fingers, the angel of the leg, the feet, the organs, the pancreas, the liver. It literally names out all of these, right? It names the 300 and what is it? It's an angel for every single body part, right? And as Yahuah was created, there is an angel that's over this particular body part. I'm like, I wonder if we begin to pray our prayers and asking you and go directly to the source of a problem, if we would begin to see things happen and actually begin to see real healings take place, right? Because up until this day, there are still some things that we haven't seen. And we know that in the day where Yahuah pours out his spirit upon all flesh, that we are going to see some of the greater things, right? When Yahuah begins to do that, we are going to see some amazing things, right? And we see the little hoax things that they have. I'm not saying that nobody's ever gotten up out of a wheelchair, but we haven't really seen here in America in a very, very long time a true miracle, right? We see things like, I'm talking about like a real miracle where somebody has born with no limbs, right? If this happened, that the glory of Yah can flow through the earth, we need to see miracles like this, right? So as I was reading that last night, I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait, it like blew my mind. I sat there just sitting there thinking about this for like an hour as I was going over. I was like, wait a minute. Father, wait a minute. Is this that? Can this happen in this day when you pour out your spirit? Can this happen? So I'm excited about that. Like, I'm excited for those times, and I pray that I'm still here upon this earth. But I'll bring it. Why does that make me think about the Transformer? Yeah, Trina, that's why I brought it out. Enoch's name, Metatron, right? Oh, speaking of that, have y'all guys seen the preview of this movie that's going to be released on December 25th on Christmas 2020, this year? It's called Souls. It's by Disney Pixar. It's an animated movie, and it's called Soul. Soul. Let me tell you something. Yesterday, my son Jeremiah, 17-year-old, woke up and he said, Mom, look at this. He sent it to me, and there is a movie trailer about the movie Soul. Do you know in this movie that they have taken history from the history of Yahuah's people, and they have put it in the movie? Remember I said they steal everything. They're not original. They don't come up with anything. They steal it and they put it in movies. Do you know that that movie is about, remember the other day when we read about how the soul is created and all the details that we read about the soul before it enters into the sperm, into the womb of the mother to be incubated for 9 months, how that one of the angels who is over the souls takes you and shows you your entire life. He shows you who your parents are going to be. He shows you where you're going to live. He shows you what occupation that you're going to have, how many children you're going to have, and that light and everything that you have and all that you learn before you enter here, how we're kicking and screaming before we come here, and we don't want to come here because we can see all that is going to transpire, right? He said you don't have a choice in this. And he said when your time is up on earth, I'm going to come see you again. That same angel that showed us our life before we entered here is going to be the same angel that greets us when we close our eyes and we leave here, right? So when you have those deja vu moments, those are instances of memories that are coming back to you from what the angel that is guarding over the souls has shown you about your life. Do you know that they put this in a movie? It hasn't been released yet. It's going to be released on Christmas, December 25th, 2020. I called my mama and my sister. I'm like, would you look at this? I said, should we be pissed that they have stolen history and made it seem like it's their own idea? Or could this be a tool that Yahuah is going to use to speak truth to the world? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But I'm going to also put that in there so you can see that. And I'm going to copy again the section that gives you the detail on the soul and how we are created and who we are. And Yahuah calls us by name. He sends the angel of the soul. He said, go get Pamela Denise Murphy and bring her here. Here are her parents. We're going to send her on March 30th, 1979 at 11:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like, he showed zip code everything. We're all placed in time at very specific points. This movie is going to be released on December 25th, 2020, next week. And it's not going to theaters. It's going to the Disney Channel. And do you believe that's not the only one? As I've been looking at, as I've been reading through this, I see where they got the movie Aladdin from. Although they embellished some of it, but Aladdin, they've taken from the story of King Solomon and a lot of stuff that they don't tell you about King Solomon. What about Rapunzel? They've embellished it a little bit, but that was King Solomon's daughter who was so beautiful that King Solomon wanted to protect her, and he built a house and castle for her and put her, it was multiple stories high, and he put her on the top floor. He filled that castle with everything she would ever need in her life. Why? To keep riffraff away from her, because he had a vision that she would fall in love with a peasant man. Not so much of a peasant, but somebody who didn't have as much as King Solomon had. And he was trying to prevent that because he had foresight. He was able to see what Yahuah showed him in the wisdom and the understanding and the gates of understanding and wisdom that he unlocked to King Solomon. King Solomon saw that this was coming. And so he did this to protect his daughter. But Yahuah is so wise that it still happened because it was foretold. It had to be this way. Right? They have stolen everything from the history of Yahuah's people. They take it out of the Bibles, they remove it, and they put it far away. They put it in different religions. This is your book. This is your book. This is your book. And just like Yahuah's people are scattered to the four corners of of the earth, so is our history and everything that has happened to our ancestors. And they put boogeymans at the doors and tell you, don't read that. That's witchcraft. And you know, black people, we don't play with the devil. There's two things we don't play with. We don't play with y'all, and we don't play with the devil. So if you tell us the devil is right, there's a boogeyman right there, don't read that. That's what we ain't touching it. Go on, get out of here. I don't know about that. Gone. Right? So what I had to do was I had to get over the spirit of fear that I kind of grew up with. I'm like, oh yeah, I ain't touching that. You know how long it took me to read the Apocrypha? What I'm reading to you now, the books of Jasher, Enoch, Jubilees, and some of these other ones, the Maccabees. You know how long it took me to open that? Because I was scared that it was full of witchcraft and it would attach itself to me and I would be demon possessed. I had to get over that. It's like I came out of this like I'm one of the ones. I'm like, look, we ain't changed. Look. Master going that way. I'm looking, see if we get a break where we can get out of here. Who with me? Let's go. Hold on. Y'all want to check? Let me check. So I'm standing at the door like, he said, as soon as you step out, you're going to die. Like, and he done put fear in you so long, you even scared to go check. You would much rather die in bonds and in slavery than to risk your life to be free. And I'm like, I'm sick of this. Even if I die, I'm going to be free. I'm going to go check. I said, Father, I need you to lead and guide me here. Don't lead me to nothing that's going to kill me or kill my soul. I don't want to go to hell. I don't play with you and I don't play with the devil. I said, but I need to know. I'm hearing stuff. I need to know if this stuff is true. And as I started looking, I'm like, oh, shoot. Wait, what? What? Hey, you know it said that? Wait, look, hold on. Come here. Look. Come here, y'all. Look. Ain't nobody out here. Come, look. Come look at this. Look. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm trying to point y'all. Look. Come see. There's freedom here. Look, come. Some people are like, oh, no, that's going to come back any moment. Nope, I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to die right here. I'm going to live here and I'm going to die here. I'm like, okay. But I'm standing here waving like, get on the ark, people. Get on the ark. There's freedom here. There's life here. You know, and it's found only in Yah. So, all right, y'all, I'm done with my rant for today. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. We read Enoch chapter 43 through 48. And then the Legends of the Jews, we read pages 274 to 277, and we'll pick up the rest of this tomorrow with Moses receiving the Torah. And that's really interesting. That's pretty fun too. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna post all that stuff. I'm gonna have to watch this video over because I made a list of stuff and I didn't write it down, everything that I was gonna post here. So come back in a couple hours and look in the description box or in the comment section, and you'll see everything that I mentioned that I said I was gonna share with you. I'm gonna share with you, and I think I will, Aliyah. I'll pull it out and I'll read to you every, we'll do that at the end of the reading. Wait, you know what? I do it right after we read Enoch tomorrow because it's really short chapters. I'll read it right after I read Enoch tomorrow, all the names of the angels, and then we'll go into the Legends of the Jews to finish this up with Moses receiving the Torah. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and do the blessing. Hold on. Y'all writing a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't want to get sidetracked because y'all know how I can go off on rabbit trails. I've always been a movie watcher. Now I can see so much in movies pertaining to this. Yes. Multiple boogeymen have been put in place to deter us from the truth. You so right. Please consider of the new book. Okay. Please consider reading. I am. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read all the names. It'll probably take me about 10 minutes to get through all of that. Like I said, some names I can't pronounce, so forgive me. I'm gonna try to pronounce it. And if I can find like a digital copy of it where I can share it with y'all so y'all can see it. If not, I'm gonna find the book. Hopefully the book is still available. If you want it, I'll give you the page number and everything. All right. Okay, y'all. So let's go to the blessing. So I try to do as much as possible to share with y'all so y'all can y'all check behind me, check with y'all, pray. Fast about, do whatever you need to do to get the truth and hold on to it. Cling to the truth. Cling to Yah. Yah is truth. There is no other truth besides Yah alone. Cling to him. Let it kiss you. Kiss it back. I'm telling you, it's so good. All right, y'all. Numbers chapter 6 is where the blessing is found. Remember, the first 21 verses of Numbers chapter 6 is the Nazarite vow, and the blessing begins at verse 22 all the way to the end of the chapter, which is verse 27. Hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. Okay. And Yahuah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuah bless us and keep us. May Yahuah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name, whose name? Yahuah's name alone. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Who will bless us? Yahuah himself will bless us. He said, put my name upon my people, and I'm going to bless them. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I see y'all bright and early in the morning. Be on the lookout for all that stuff I was going to share with y'all today in the description. Check the description box in YouTube, and possibly the comment section, and the description of the video too, as well on Facebook. All right, y'all. Love you. See you bright and early in the morning. 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.